There is a silent cry in every human heart, a cry that cannot be silenced by money, a longing that relationships cannot cure, a thirst that applause, achievements, and attention cannot quench. Deep within you, beyond the smiles and strength you show the world, there is an unspoken hunger, a yearning that refuses to die. You may not be able to describe it, but you feel it. After every success, the void remains. After every celebration, the emptiness lingers. Because you were never designed to be fulfilled by things. The soul was not made to be fed by materialism. It was designed to be filled by divinity. Men have searched through religion, through fame, through fortune, through pleasure, yet the more they find, the more lost they feel. Because the true cry of the human spirit is not for what, but for who. Not for creation, but for the Creator. So tonight I bring you a message, not from ambition, but from revelation. Only God can satisfy you, not your position, not your possessions. Until He becomes your pursuit, your soul will remain restless, ever chasing, never arriving. Every man, no matter how intelligent, wealthy, or accomplished, carries within him a silent longing, an ache that nothing in this physical world can truly answer. It is not always loud, but it is persistent. It is that void that follows you even into the rooms of celebration, into the arms of relationships, and into the chambers of achievement. It is the reason why men can stand on grand stages and still feel empty. Why women can be loved yet feel unknown. Why kings can wear crowns yet still battle depression. It is the cry of the soul, a hunger not for things but for meaning. A thirst not for activity but for presence. That, my dear brothers and sisters, is the evidence that the human soul was designed to host something eternal. That void is not mental. It is not emotional. It is spiritual. It is the signature of God upon the human soul, a reminder that man did not create himself. It is proof that man is not just a body and a mind. He is spirit, and spirit cannot be satisfied with matter. That deep longing is a God-shaped vacuum, and until God becomes the occupant of that space, all attempts to fill it will be in vain. This is why you see men pursue power with such aggression. Political power, spiritual power, financial power, only to become prisoners of their own ambition. They touch influence but remain broken. They climb the mountain of success, yet find no peace waiting at the summit. Because the soul was not wired to run on applause. The spirit of man was not created to be filled with likes, followers, or money. No, it was created to experience divine union. It was built to be a resting place for the Almighty. The soul of man was designed with eternity in mind. That means nothing temporal can satisfy it. Cars may bring you convenience. Friends may bring you comfort. Wealth may bring you options. But only the presence of the Creator brings true rest. There is something about that hunger that laughs in the face of entertainment. You can binge watch seasons, travel across nations, and still return home tired. Because tiredness is not always physical. Sometimes the soul is what is weary, and its only therapy is the fragrance of the presence of God. You see, when people engage in addiction, rebellion, or vanity, it is often not wickedness that drives them. It is a search, a restless exploration, hoping that maybe this time, something will be enough. But the truth is this: until that man finds God, he will keep drawing from broken wells. That vacuum will torment him in the quiet, echoing through his achievement. That void will demand an answer, until he surrenders to the one who alone satisfies. The pursuit of everything else becomes an exhausting cycle of replacements. Until the soul returns to its maker, it will never know true fulfillment. There is something deceptive about the temporary pleasures of this world. They come dressed in glitter. They sound persuasive. They promise rest, joy, and satisfaction. But they are broken wells, appealing on the outside yet empty within. The system of this world is structured to present alternatives to the presence of God. And the tragedy is that many have believed that what they need is more money, more followers, more exposure, more degrees, more relation. Yet when they finally arrive at what they once prayed for, they discover that it was never enough. Carnal substitutes are the tools of deception, designed to pacify a deeper longing that only the divine can answer. Pleasure is deceptive. It gives the illusion of satisfaction, but once the laughter fades and the crowd disperses, you are left alone with your soul, and it begins to cry again because what you fed it was not food. That's why people can dance in clubs and cry themselves to sleep. That's why many go from one relationship to another, trying to silence a voice that was never meant to be quieted with flesh. Because you don't feed the spirit with entertainment. You don't quench thirst with distraction. The tragedy of this generation is that we have mastered how to run. Run from silence. Run from stillness. Run from brokenness. We drown our emptiness in screens, in noise, in busyness. But there comes a time when all those things fail. You watch a man who had everything crumble under depression. You see a woman who seemed fulfilled attempt suicide. You hear of celebrities who had the applause of nations, yet died of loneliness. What does that tell you? That nothing outside of the divine presence can fill the human heart. The enemy is not always trying to destroy you with obvious sin. Sometimes he destroys by distraction. He offers you good things to keep you from the ultimate thing. He keeps you chasing shadows, hoping that you'll forget the real source of life. You chase relationships, but your soul remains thirsty. You chase recognition, but it doesn't still your storm. You chase positions, but peace evades you, because substitutes may entertain you, but they can never transform you. They can give you moments, but not meaning. They can keep you busy but not fulfilled. That is the deception of carnal satisfaction. It's like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. And by the time you realize it, you're addicted to what is draining you. You've built a life around what cannot sustain you. You've surrounded yourself with things that impress others, but oppress your soul. And in the secret place of your heart, the void grows wider, because nothing of the flesh can ever satisfy the spirit. That's the painful truth. And until you confront it, you will live exhausted, rich but tired, loved but empty, popular but broken. Because every carnal substitute will eventually fail. What you thought would heal you will expose you. What you thought would complete you will disappoint you. The soul knows its true food and it will never be fooled for long. There is a dimension of peace, a realm of satisfaction, that cannot be found in the noise of this world. It is not found in the hustle of life, nor in the applause of men. It is found in one sacred place, deep unbroken intimacy with your Creator. That communion is not a religious routine. It is not just prayer. It is not mere Bible study. It is the fellowship of hearts, where the spirit of man is woven into the spirit of God. And in that fusion, true fulfillment is born. Many believers have mastered activities around God, yet they are strangers to His presence. They know the language of religion. They attend church. They sing. They serve. But their hearts are dry, because intimacy is not motion. Intimacy is alignment. Intimacy is acts. When a man begins to prioritize the presence of God above all else, he enters into a satisfaction that circumstances cannot define. You can strip such a man of everything external, and yet he remains whole, because what anchors him is not what's around him. It is who lives within him. Intimacy with God is where identity is revealed. You do not truly know yourself until you see yourself through His eyes. This is why men live in confusion. They try to find meaning in crowds, in comparison, in competition. But destiny is not discovered on social media. Purpose is not found in trends. It is found in the place of intimacy, where God begins to whisper to you the reason for your existence, and every other pursuit becomes secondary. True fulfillment is not in doing more. It is in becoming one with Him. Many people chase activities, hoping they will become substitutes for relationship. But ministry is not intimacy. Service is not intimacy. Busyness is not intimacy. The soul finds rest, not because it is productive, but because it is connected. It is the weight of His presence that settles the storm inside. It is in those quiet moments, when no one is watching, that he breathes into your spirit and satisfies you in ways language cannot explain. When a man becomes intimate with God, even lack cannot steal his joy. Delay cannot frustrate him. Rejection cannot define him, because his life is no longer built on people. It is rooted in presence. That communion becomes his oxygen. It becomes his satisfaction. Others may look and wonder, how are you so calm when nothing around you is working? And the answer is simple. God is with me, not just in doctrine, but in experience. Not just as a theological idea, but as a daily reality. That is the secret of fulfilled men. That is the realm where tears become oil, where pain becomes purpose, where silence becomes a symphony. In that place, even if you have nothing, you have everything. Because what the soul needs is not stuff, it is God. And when God becomes your dwelling place, you will drink from a river that never runs dry.
There is a mystery many never realize, that the pursuit of God is not just a religious act. It is the pursuit of your destiny. Every man was sent into this world on assignment. You were not just born, you were released from eternity, sent as a solution to a specific need in time. But here is the deception. Many chase after their calling without chasing the caller. They want purpose without intimacy. They want relevance without alignment. But destiny does not begin with ambition. It begins with surrender. You do not find yourself by looking into the mirror of culture. You find yourself by looking into the face of the one who made you. The one who forms the spirit of a man must be the one to reveal his path. You were not designed to create your destiny. You were designed to discover. And discovery only happens when pursuit begins. When you lay aside the distractions of life and say, Lord, not my will, but yours. Every time you pursue God, you are not just becoming spiritual, you are becoming accurate. You are aligning with the coordinates of your purpose. This is why intimacy is not optional. It is the foundation of true impact. You can have gifts, you can have skills, but if your steps are not ordered by the one who sent you, you will spend your years running fast in the wrong direction. What looks like speed without God is actually delay, because the fastest way to destiny is not hustle, it is alignment. There is something that happens when God becomes your priority. He begins to direct your desires. He begins to adjust your appetites. The things that once attracted you lose their taste. You stop living for applause. You stop competing with men. You realize that this is a path already marked for you, and only the one who authored it can guide you into it. He does not just reveal the end, he walks you through every step. The tragedy is that many want to be known but not to know him. They want to lead but not to listen. They want influence but not intimacy. But in this kingdom, the throne is not accessed by climbing. It is accessed by bowing until God becomes your obsession. Destiny will remain a mystery. It is in the secret place that he begins to open your eye. It is in pursuit that your true identity emerges. Everything else is noise. When you prioritize God, your life becomes purposeful by default. You may not know where you're going in detail, but you're held by the hand of the one who does. And that becomes your rest. You don't live based on trial and error. You live by instruction, and every instruction is a step toward your prophetic future. Pursuing God is not you abandoning your life's journey. It is how you truly begin it, because until he becomes the center, you are just surviving, not living. There is a level in the spirit where you come to the understanding that it is not just about what you have, but who is with you. There is a kind of abundance that destroys a man. There is a level of lifting that becomes a snare if it is not undergirded by divine presence. Without God, even blessings become burdens. What was meant to lift you begins to crush you. What was designed to be a testimony becomes a trap. Because increase without presence is a setup for disaster. Many people cry for breakthrough, for open doors, for financial overflow, for expansion, and these things are good, but only if your heart is anchored in God. When the soul is empty, blessings magnify that emptiness. It is possible to be surrounded by everything and still feel like you have nothing, because things do not complete a man. Things only decorate what already exists. And if what exists is brokenness, confusion, and vanity, then all that wealth does is amplify. When a man ascends without intimacy, success becomes his downfall. You can have a full schedule and an empty heart. You can build empires and lose your soul in the process. The real security in this life is not what you have, it is who governs your heart. A man without God at the center is not safe no matter how high he rises. The applause of men can become a curse if it takes you away from the secret place. The promotions, the platforms, the achievements, they are all good, but if you lose God in the process, you have lost everything. Some of the greatest regrets in life are born from answered prayers that arrived without preparation. You asked for a throne, but you did not have the discipline to steward it. You asked for influence, but you lacked the intimacy to navigate, and now the very thing you called a blessing has become your valley of compromise. Because God was not the foundation, He was just an option. When God is absent, your success becomes a magnet for attacks you're not equipped to handle. Your marriage begins to suffocate under the weight of ego. Your finances begin to expose your greed. Your relationships turn into tools for manipulation. Because the hand of God is what balances the weight of favor. It is His presence that turns blessings into testimonies. Without Him, what you call progress becomes your own prison. This is why many people who rise without presence eventually crash. They rise with speed but without stability, because it is not just about rising, it is about rising with God. That way your wealth will serve His purpose, your marriage will reflect His love, your influence will echo His voice. Anything that comes into your life without the hand of God preparing you for it can be the very thing that breaks you. It is better to remain in the cave with His presence than to sit on the throne without Him, because only He can give you blessings and preserve your soul. There is a realm of truth that must dawn upon every seeker, that satisfaction is not a product, it is a person. The hunger within the soul of man is not for objects, it is for presence. That thirst that keeps you awake at night, that ache that achievement cannot cure, that void you feel even in the midst of laughter. It is not depression, it is disconnection. The soul was never designed to be fulfilled by things. It was built for fellowship, and that fellowship finds its fulfillment in one person, Christ. When a man begins to understand that life does not flow from possessions, but from a person, his pursuit changes. He no longer chases what the Gentiles chase. He no longer spends his life trying to fill a spiritual void with physical acquisitions. Because deep calls unto deep, it is spirit that feeds spirit. And until Christ becomes your definition of success, your idea of fulfillment will keep shifting like shadow. This is why men can touch greatness and still feel small. It is why kings cry in silence. It is why lovers still feel alone. Because the soul knows what it was designed for. You can feed it money, it will still cry. You can dress it in fame, it will still be naked. You can surround it with people, it will still feel isolated. Because that soul is not hungry for things. It is hungry for the one who breathed life into it. The world offers alternatives, pleasures, entertainment, distractions. But the more you drink from those wells, the more empty you become. The food of the flesh cannot satisfy the appetite of the spirit. That is why the prodigal son,
though surrounded by the world, still found himself in a pigsty, not because he lacked money, but because he lacked communion, not because he lacked freedom, but because he lacked presence. And when he came to himself, he said, I will arise and go to my Father. That is the return that every soul must make, the journey back to the one who satisfies. Christ is not just a figure in Scripture, he is the bread of life, he is the living water, he is the rest for the weary soul. You don't use him to get satisfaction, he is satisfaction, and until that revelation settles in your heart, you will keep using him as a means to get other things. But when he becomes the goal, peace becomes your portion, joy becomes a river, contentment becomes your atmosphere. Because you are no longer searching, you have found the well. The presence of Christ does not remove your needs, but it removes the emptiness. You may still believe for increase, for miracles, for open doors, but not from a place of desperation, from a place of rest. You are no longer chasing to feel complete. You are complete, and now you walk with him. Every day becomes an overflow, not a search, because the longing has ended. The search is over. Christ has become your satisfaction. Everything you are truly looking for, peace, identity, rest, fulfillment, joy and meaning, is not outside of you. It is not in what you do or acquire. It is found in one place, in him. He is not just the giver of life. He is the life. Until you return to that place of intimacy, where God becomes your source, your satisfaction, your reason, you will keep wandering from relationship to relationship, from project to project, and from one season of emptiness to another. Everything else will fail. The applause of men will fade. The pleasures of this world will end. But only God remains faithful, filling eternal. Make him your pursuit. Make him your passion. Make him your priority. And you will drink from wells that never run dry. You will rise not just in success but in purpose. You will walk not just in results, but in rest. Let it be known. Only God can satisfy you. May your hunger lead you to his presence. May your pursuit birth encounters that define your destiny. As you return to the place of intimacy, may your soul be anchored, your life aligned, and your future secured in him. Go forth with clarity, with peace, and with fire in your spirit. Thank you for listening with an open heart. Good luck on your journey into deeper realms of God, where true satisfaction lives.